Okay, so I know I'm doing two in the same day, but I kind of have a topic to talk about. Bad parenting is what I feel like talking about. Like I mentioned in my previous video, I do work at Target. Before that, I worked at McDonald's, and working at McDonald's, you take a lot of mental abuse. It doesn't matter what town you live in or what state you live in or if you're a crew member or a manager. You take abuse because people think that because you work in fast food, you are the lowest of the low. And I never really understood that. I mean, I've seen 16-year-old girls, their first day on the job, I've seen them cry. They're 16. They're still in high school. They don't have bills to pay. They're just looking for a part time job to make some extra money. I don't see how that makes them scum or uneducated. I don't understand the mentality behind that. Sure, don't get me wrong. I eat fast food. I've gone through Wendy's, Burger King, McDonald's, Arby's, all those places. I've had my orders messed up. I've had rude order takers. But like everything else in the world, you can't just let one or more than one person define what a whole group of people are. I worked at McDonald's for about a year before I was wrongfully fired, and I'm a polite person. I've always been very polite, even without being told. I called people sir, I called people ma'am. I've always, said my please and thank yous, stuff like that. Um, but still, they see you in the uniform with the hat behind the register and they think that they're just so much better than you. I mean, I've been called a monkey. I've been called a retard. I've been called a girl with Down syndrome for absolutely no reason. And what gets me is the fact that it's usually due to the customer's ignorance. People who don't understand their own stupidity feel the need to blame it on an easy target. And that pisses me off. But anyway, that's actually not what I wanted to talk about. What I wanted to talk about is I worked yesterday. I have the day off today. I worked yesterday and I was in the shoe department and there was a woman and she was there with her two kids who were probably 10 and 6. It was a 10-year-old girl and a 6-year-old boy. And aside from the fact that they were in the aisle that I was, trying to organize and tearing everything off the shelves and stuff, uh, the little boy says to his mom, "Hey mom, I have a story to tell you." And she was just like, "Okay, what?" And he was just like, "Well, you know how you always told me that white boys are pussies?" And she says, "Yes." Now, let me just remind you here that this is a 6, 7-year-old boy. He says, "Well, at school the other day, I was fighting this white boy on the playground and I punched him and he cried like a pussy." That's my cat, by the way, over there. That was Jay Bean. She's being weird. Anyway, and his sister, the 10-year-old, starts laughing and says, "Yeah, them white people are so stupid." Am I the only person seeing what's wrong here? I mean, yeah, okay, there's always gonna be racism in the world. You're ignorant to think that there won't be. Um, it doesn't matter what race you are. It really doesn't. Everyone's always gonna hate each other. There's always gonna be differences. But to raise your children to think that saying things like that are okay, a 6-year-old, guys, a 6-year-old, you know, saying that anybody is a pussy, let alone someone of the opposite race. Um, I was horrified. And the mother, laughed. And she was just agreeing with, the little boy who said that this other 6-year-old white boy is a pussy for crying for being punched in the face. And then she backed up her 10-year-old daughter who said that white people are stupid. And now, obviously, I like my job. I'm not going to say anything, but I was upset. Like, I wasn't even offended, as a white person, whatever. It's not about that. It's the fact that people think it's okay to let your children just go through the world like that, and that they reinforce things like that. It just was really horrible to me. And I actually have another story that I actually got some people kicked out of Target, kind of. This woman came in, her and her sister, and they had six, maybe seven kids with them, all between the ages of probably 3 and 13. And they came in, and the oldest of the kids was probably 13. It was a girl, and she was big, very big. And she got one of those, you know how if you go to Walmart or Target, they have the motorized scooter things, for people with disabilities and whatnot. She got on one of those and was just driving it around. And, we're not really allowed to say anything to them, but it really bothers me because I've seen people on crutches who have to walk around on crutches because people without disabilities are goofing around and riding stuff like that. We have, groups of teenagers who come in and race each other, and it pisses me off, but I'm not allowed to say anything. Anyway, they're running around. Two of the kids who weren't babies had no shirt on. At least three or four of them had no shoes on, and they were just running up and down, screaming at each other. They were going through ready to wear, which is the women's clothing section, tearing clothes off the rack. I don't know if you guys can see this. My cats are chasing each other like crazy, and yeah, it's really annoying. Anyway, uh, they were chasing each other around, and at one point, I was bringing out a clothing rack to put clothes back on the floor, and a bunch of the kids came running up to me and just like started hanging on my clothes rack as I was rolling it out, like it was a friggin' jungle gym. And I was like, "Hey guys, can you get off?" And one of the kids, who 5 or 6 years old, looked me right in the face and said, "Shut up, white girl." And I was like, "Really? Like, did you really just say that to me?" But once again, I like my job. I ignored it. I kept trying to pull, you know, my rack, trying to move it, and they were pulling on it the opposite way, preventing me from doing my job. The woman comes over, and I said, "Ma'am, can you please tell your kids to let go?" Blah, blah, blah. She looks me right in the face and says, "Who the hell do you think you are telling me how to talk to my kids?" And I'm completely dumbfounded at this point, like, oh my God, like, I have so many stories from every place that I've been where I just see stuff like this, and people think it's okay to let your kids run around like animals, to be half naked in a store. They shouldn't even have been allowed in, let alone been able to run around like that. I don't know. It just pisses me off. I don't understand a lot of things. I see kids getting pregnant younger and younger, and, I don't know if it's evolution or what. I know it's an animal instinct. People are always going to want to have sex. People get exposed to sex at younger and younger ages. But oh my God, people, whether you're 12 or 20, there's condoms. Get a fucking condom. Put a condom on. I don't care. Just stop having kids. As if this world didn't have enough fucked up people in it. You're just adding to it, and you're gonna be a bad parent because you're a child yourself. You're 12 years old. You shouldn't have a kid because you're still a kid. Kids shouldn't have kids, okay? The McDonald's that I worked at, there was a girl who worked there, 16 years old, dropped out of high school because she was pregnant. Every single girl there, over the age of 15 or whatever. Like, I was the youngest, I was the only person there under the age of 20 who didn't have a fucking kid. Like, the guys, the girls, everyone had kids or two kids. Um, I'm 20 years old, okay? I would love to have a kid. I love babies, I used to babysit. I've got three younger sisters. I love kids. But having said that, I work at Target. I live in a dangerous neighborhood, I think. I have a brain. I would never bring a child into this world where I am right now. And that's it. That's all I have to say. Um, God, people piss me off. Am I the only person who sees what the hell is wrong with people? Like the ignorance, the bad parenting. I'm about to strangle both of my cats. So that's it for this. Um, Let me know what you think. Like seriously, I wanna talk about this shit. Thanks. Bye.